My friend, Fox Sports NFL analyst Eric Mangini joins us often on Friday for good introspection on this entire league, and I want him to join me now live. So, we were just talking, I've said before, I said this once to Jimmy Johnson, there's all running quarterbacks work, they just don't last. And Kyler Murray got dinged up a little last night. When you watch Kyler Murray, and it's spectacular. I mean, it's my favorite thing to watch in the league. What do you make of him? They're very Kyler-centric in their offense. Like, they run as a play. Out of the huddle, they're running. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, you can do that, and we've seen it a lot with guys where you're putting a ton of pressure on, whether it's Russell Wilson or Lamar Jackson or take your pick. I mean, Kyler's got 10 rushing touchdowns. He's the second leading rusher on the team, and when you expect these guys to carry the load week in and week out, it gets to the point where you're gonna run into some big problems, and you don't have a second pitch, and that's a real issue. You can't be that unbalanced and expect a guy to be Superman week in and week out, because there's going to be weeks where he just doesn't have it like that.
Well, Russell Wilson feels like he runs differently. He feels like he runs to just get a first down and go back to their original set of downs, and it's not running by design. It's running because something didn't work. When you watch him run, does it feel different?
Yeah, it feels totally different. With him, it's more scramble to throw, and then if the window's there, he's going to take the window and pick up the yards that are there from a rushing perspective. There's not a ton of quarterback-driven runs with him where he really has to make that decision. It's sprinkled in here and there, but that's not driving the offense. And to me, that's much more the approach that you have to have if you're going to have longevity. And you and I were talking about this off the air. Why pay your left tackle all that money if you're going to expose your quarterback to getting hit 15 to 20 times with quarterback-driven runs? And I think Russell Wilson is dangerous because he will take off, but he's also dangerous because he can scramble around to throw it down the field.
Yeah. By the way, Taysom Hill is going to start over Jameis Winston. I'm surprised by it. He's only thrown 18 career passes in the league. Are you?
Yeah, yes and no. You hear the comments that come out in terms of comparisons between him and Steve Young and the amount of praise that he has. And then I went back and looked at his contract. He's guaranteed $20 million between this year and next year. It's next year being $16 million. When you're paying a guy $16 million, that's not a role player. There's an expectation that he's going to assume a much bigger part of that offense. And I think that the thought process has always been he could be the replacement for Drew Brees. And now you get this opportunity to really check to see whether or not you're right on this. You almost have to take it. And I think they truly believe that he can fill that role. Now, he's thrown 18 balls. He's got one interception. So he's thrown less than 1% of the amount of balls that Jameis Winston's thrown. So there's a gigantic leap of faith happening here as well.
Yeah. So you, before the season, I was not on board with this, Eric. You picked the Raiders as your sleeper team, and I was a cynic when Gruden came. I said he's a great TV personality. You can't leave Silicon Valley for a decade and then come back and be Mark Zuckerberg. There's no way. I'm wrong. I was wrong on Mayock. I've been wrong on everything. I imagine you still like the Raiders.
I do. I picked my two teams were the Raiders and the Falcons. And look, the Falcons are making a little bit of a push here, and they've missed a few great opportunities early. But the same thing with the Raiders. There's a grittiness to this team that I've always liked. And I'm as big a Derek Carr fan as I think you are, and he's playing well. Now, that being said, remember last year we were having this conversation about the Raiders where John was, a potential coach of the year. And then what was it? They lost 5 out of their last 6.
Yep. They struggled.
Something like that. And with that grittiness and with that physical type play that they've had, there comes some wear and tear. So it's going to be interesting to watch them down the stretch. And hey, if they can sweep Kansas City, that to me alone is impressive enough and gets in the coach of the year conversation.
Yeah. So I think there's a pretty clear Aaron Rodgers, when he's comfortable and with a lead, he is great. When you hit him a few times, even his body language changes. this will be the second defense this year, Tampa the first, where he's going to get hit. He's going to get banged around. The defensive coordinator on the Colts. Is it a great defense or a well-schemed defense? What is Aaron Rodgers going to face this weekend against the Colts in Indy?
Yeah, so Matt Eberflus was a guy that I hired out of college when I was in Cleveland. Really, really bright guy. Can bring multiple looks. Can disguise defenses. Can do all those things. But when he went to Dallas, he got more comfortable with being stationary, less moving parts. Really, really sound and consistent. So that there's that element to it. Now, the tough part with a guy like Aaron Rodgers is if he knows, it goes. If he knows what you're in, he's going to get the ball to the right place. So that can be tough. And you look at who the Colts have played, a bunch of the teams that they've beaten and a bunch of teams they've beaten up on are in the bottom 10 of offenses. This is by far the best passer that they've faced all season. It's by far the best offense they've faced this season. And I'm just curious what Matt's going to try to do to not give Aaron Rodgers those pre-snap looks and pre-snap information.
You live in Cleveland, couple of minutes left. I said with Baker, now that I've seen Tua and Herbert and Josh Allen and Lamar and all these AFC guys, I'm kind of off Baker. I was never a huge fan, but he doesn't size up athletically, arm, size, special. In Cleveland, you live there. What's the feeling? What's the general opinion on Baker this morning?
Look, everybody's so happy here about the Browns' success, and I was doing something at the Department of Motor Vehicles recently, and all they wanted to talk about were the running backs. They weren't necessarily talking about Baker. They were talking about the running game, and that's what they should be talking about. Baker, to me, has upside, but it doesn't look like he has the upside of a lot of the elite quarterbacks that we traditionally talk about. Now, with that running game, being able to build off of play action, being able to slow down the pass rush, I think that's a great situation for him. I don't know if you're ever going to sit back and say, okay, Baker's going to go win X amount of games for us, but I think he can be a middle of the pack, the upper middle of the pack, productive guy with the right system. Yeah. And this looks like it's a much better fit for him.
Eric Mangini, when you get out to California again, well, we may not be able to go to a restaurant. They're closing all those too, so you maybe stay in Cleveland.
We're going to your house. I hear you talk about all the different steaks that you cook.
Yep. All right. Good talking to you, Coach.
We'll talk to you soon.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.